This first claim comes from convertsolar.com. They claim that when you get solar panels installed, you're automatically increasing your home's value. Typically, homes with solar panels are worth about $20,000 more than homes without solar. According to Zillow, a home with solar panels can sell 20% faster and have an increase of 4% equity than a home without solar. I don't necessarily agree that as a licensed real estate agent. Do you, Josh?
Absolutely not.
Let's turn over to the appraisers here. What do you think of that?
I think it's a bit misleading. Certainly would like to see their studies or their research, what kind of due diligence they did on that.
I think it's important to approach it as we do in appraising with every variable. It's important to understand that we have to apply an adjustment, but we also have to support that adjustment and prove that adjustment. I always approach it from a who's your buyer standpoint, right? Any agent that sits down with the buyer talks about what's important to us, and you've got your set of criteria that you're out there when you're showing properties to these potential buyers. As an appraiser, we like to look at it and say, all right, if there are 10 buyers for each home and they were to sit down and write their top 5 or top 10 list of wants and desires, where on that list the solar panels fall? And I've done several classes here lately, and when I pose that question to agents, I've probably asked 200 plus agents in the last 3 weeks. I've had 0 hands go up when I've asked them, how many buyers have you been with that have, that was a big want and desire for their search. And
you guys are agents. How many buyers would you say when you're showing properties or entertaining in the market?
Every buyer I've ever worked with, 0 of them have asked me for solar panels on a house.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Never had it. Never had anybody say, hey, solar panels are going to make the difference between me buying this house or not. Never had it.
Well, and I think it goes back to their original focus is, and they approach the selling of these solar panels with number one is, let me tell you how I can increase the value of your home. And so I think it's, from a misleading standpoint, and I've had recent calls from solar panel folks, and that was how they led the conversation. And I told them that, you called the wrong person, how long you got, let's go through it. And so, for us, again, when we have to support our adjustments for an in-ground swimming pool, for a remodeled kitchen, we have to have data that supports those adjustments, and we just don't have it in this market locally. And I would say some of these studies do note California studies, and I think maybe it's real estate everywhere is all localized, from location statewide to different sections of the state, but even here locally, different neighborhoods might support different adjustments, whether it be in-ground swimming pool, decks, patios, but solar panels is one of those that it's hard for an appraiser to be able to identify that variable as the reason a property sold for significantly higher than the one that sold down the street.
Just to preface this conversation, Pat's talking about adjustments. Within the scope of appraising, there's 3 approaches to value: the sales comparison approach, the income approach, and the cost approach. The most popular to your audience and most everyone is the sales comparison approach, or comparison analysis, in which we use something called a paired sales analysis, or what would we derive from the market. We use the paired sales analysis to derive our adjustments on a grid in which we compare multiple properties to a subject property. Now, these properties are all similar to the subject property with one variant, different physical characteristic, feature, amenity, etc. And that's how we theoretically derive our adjustment or go through our adjustment process. So when he's referring to adjustments in the market, that's what he's referring to.